I'm gonna go ahead and have us go live.
Hello and welcome to Roll for Review, where we're taking a look at the very best products in tabletop role-playing games that launched, let's see here, at the second half of June. We're covering the second half of the month of June, and we've got some good projects this week. We've got some really, really cool stuff. I'm really excited to talk about it. My name's Joe, and I do stuff. I don't care.
Joe manufactures, produces, and fulfills board games for a
Yes.
living because he's super cool. Way cooler than me. I'm Hannah, also known as Halfling Hannah. I create DM resources on YouTube, Patreon, and my website, halflinghobbies.com.
And I am Alex, a designer and marketer for the Wanderer's Guide, and I play TTRPG games, and I am perhaps becoming a DM. It's from last episode. There's definitely a little bit of progress there, and maybe we'll see where that goes from there. But this is actually episode 13 of Roll for Review, so hopefully there aren't any more sound issues that we've had in the past or any glitches. It's bad luck 13.
We've had some boggles get into our system and mess things up here, but we are Roll for Review, the three of us together, where we collect TTRPG related Kickstarters like a pirate captain collects pieces of 8 and show off the very best ones to you. We have gathered all of the Kickstarters within this time, and we each have chosen our 3 favorite projects for various reasons. We are going to take turns showing them off, telling you what's unique and interesting about them, why we're excited, and then give you a very arbitrary roll that we call a Roll for Review. This is a number between 1 to 20, like a 20-sided dice that you would roll if you're playing a TTRPG. And this is based on a lot of things, but mostly how we feel about the project overall and how we feel that it ranks and rates. We can add some numbers to that, like modifiers, for especially creative things, artwork, all sorts of things. But we will give each one of these a roll for review.
Absolutely. And if you happen to miss any parts of this episode, it will be uploaded onto our YouTube channel, which you are watching right now. The episode will upload directly after it is done streaming. So thank you very much, and hit that notification bell if you haven't followed yet. What are you doing? Hit that follow button. And Joe, why don't we jump into it? We're starting with you, my friend, as we usually do.
I want to come up with funny ways to introduce ourselves now every episode, where it's adjacent. Like, I was just thinking for Hannah, she could be like world famous apron model.
Oh. Just for one particular apron.
Just pull out my
random things that would not make sense if they don't know us.
Exactly.
I'm the face of a multi-million-dollar corporation.
We're definitely gonna get sued for that one. All right. Here we go. We are going to take a look at the very first project, which I am super excited about. And here's the thing. Normally on this channel, we are pretty strictly RPG focused. But every now and then there's a project, right, that launches on Kickstarter that is neither a role-playing game nor a board game, and straddles this in-between space. Now I'm going to talk about this product, but it's also because I am a massive fan of this line of products. So let's talk about it. Graphic novel adventures. New game books for 2021. Get the new set of GNA graphic novel adventure books, season 4, and fill out your collection with any of our other GNA titles. So this is a product that is created by Van Ryder Games. They are a pretty big board game publishing company, but they also have this series of products called Graphic Novel Adventures. And I feel like if you are somebody that likes to play in the RPG space, this is a project that might be very, very intriguing to you, because I feel like it really does mesh very closely and blur those lines of what really is a role-playing game, right? So let's talk a little bit about what these products are. These products are actual graphic novel comic books that you actually play. You actually get to open up these graphic novels and play with them. So I have a couple here, and I actually have every single one that they've made to date, because like I said, I am a huge fan. Here is one called Captive, where you are literally held captive inside of a like killer's home, and you have to escape, and there's like decisions. So it's kind of like a choose your own adventure book, but told through the eyes of a graphic novel. There's also this one, which has been one of my personal favorites, called Your Theme Park, where you get to run a theme park and create and make all of these decisions, and you get to actually map out where the different rides and stuff go.
Oh,
It's
wow.
really,
Analog
really
roller coaster tycoon.
yeah, exactly. It's very much like that. Here they have two kind of sets that you see pretty often. They have a couple of these ones that are pirates that are more kind of for kids. You can definitely run through these ones with your kids. They're a lot of fun. And then this one is the Sherlock Holmes detective one, which are very much about you reading through, making decisions, questioning people, solving mysteries. So I am a huge fan. Love this thing. It's basically reading a graphic novel, but you actually have some agency in the story that's being told. So what are the new books that they have here? Well, first of all, you can pick up any of the old titles if you look through and see any of them that jump out at you, or any of the ones that I decided to grab off my shelf. Yeah. But here are the new ones that they are doing. They have one called Space Brigade, where you are playing as a group of like space marines, and there's like you're going on missions, and there's like this alien bunker that's been overtaken. So it's very reminiscent of movies like Alien or Firefly or something like that. But you're basically playing as a group of space marines. There is also a one which is one of the main reasons I decided to talk about this one, called Dark Mage, which is the only one that has a mature tag on it. Ooh. But it's basically you are playing through as a mage in this dark universe that has special powers, and you are going through. And this one is much more like an RPG. They have a few of these where it feels a lot more RPG, where you're keeping track of your equipment, you're keeping track of your like HP and stuff like that. You're making die rolls. So Dark Mage is much more similar to that. One of the ones that I'm actually extremely excited about is called The Grand Tournament. The Grand Tournament is actually you're playing through Mortal Kombat. So it is Mortal Kombat, the graphic novel adventure, and you actually have to play through, like you have to like have all of these fights and like level up in this tournament, but you're also trying to like find the secret artifact. And then they have 2 more Sherlock Holmes books available for you.
I want.
I will say, though, the Sherlock Holmes ones usually are just like surefire winners anyway. It really is like a great mystery that you're trying to solve, and you're kind of using your own intuition as you read.
They really wanted to make Sherlock look like Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
The really elongated face.
I am happy with that.
But it's a lot of fun. I cannot recommend these books enough. If you are somebody that maybe you enjoy playing like solo RPGs, or you like to like unwind with a nice graphic novel every now and then, the writing on these is great. The art on these is fantastic. The production quality is very, very nice. And I promise you, this is like a new experience. You've probably never played anything like this, where you're kind of taking that choose your own adventure and graphic novel and mishmashing them together. Some of them are more economic, like the Your Theme Park one. Some of them are more story based, like the Space Brigade. And then some of them are more like actually have like a very RPG-esque feel to them, like the Dark Mage. So you can kind of like pick your poison there. But yeah, I'm just really excited about these. They launched a couple weeks ago. I've been super stoked to talk about these on Roll for Review, because they come out with a set every single year, and I always back them. I have a shelf full of them. I love playing them in my spare time. So I mean, it's super, super cool product. What do you guys think?
So I'm thinking that when do I get these, and how much do they cost? Because I have a nephew that I feel like these would be the perfect birthday present for, because he loves reading, he loves D&D. This seems like something that he would love, because he doesn't have friends he can play with yet. Like, he's still too young to like actually have a session going on. Like, these look amazing, and I personally would love some of the Sherlock Holmes ones. I feel like that would be so much fun.
Absolutely.
I really love when we see products that kind of breach 2 different types of product or type of subject matter in a way where you have that choose your own adventure mixed with the graphic novel. Things that apply a little bit more utility, a little bit more of that TTRPG effect into another product that you wouldn't expect. And there is one that we might be working on in the background, just to drop a little Easter egg. Keep an eye out for that. But there's definitely when you see products like this that kind of switch it up, make it a little bit more unique, bring the TTRPG experience into other markets, into other different facets of different media and things like that. I think that's always something really interesting to look at, and definitely from a Kickstarter standpoint, it makes it interesting. It kind of cuts that daily, here's another RPG, another expansion, another here's that. This is something that's different and something that's really, really great to see.
Yeah. They have so many different kinds too. Like, this is really neat that they have so many variety of genres. There's some westerns in here that I saw, like superheroes.
Yeah, if you go down to the bottom, there's a
werewolf
section
one.
where it says like recommended audiences, and yeah, you can see that there's just a ton of different ones.
Yeah, that's cool.
The Your Town one is actually a really good one because that's also like an economic one where you're actually like building up this small western town and dealing with conflict because you're playing as the mayor. But you can look through all of these. There's just this huge selection at the bottom, and it gives you like a very small description of every single book that they've ever released. So let's talk a little bit about pricing.
Yeah.
A single book is going to run you $15. Okay, so $15 for a single book. If you are wanting to get more, okay, you can get all of the new books for $65. I'm sorry, there's actually, so this is a weird thing. They had like one book come out like by itself last year. So they're basically now saying like, did you not get that one? Because you can get all 5 or you can get 4. So if you need all 5 books, it's $80 for a set of 5 of these, which is a pretty good price per book.
It's in seasons though, right?
It is in seasons, but each book is unique. Each book is unique. The seasons just kind of come in like a box set, right? But basically, if you like a certain book, you can get it for $15. So basically, if you're looking to pick it all up, you can get it for however much you want to do. A season costs $80. Each single book costs $15. So if you just want to try it out, pick up 1, 2, 3 that maybe interest you the most. It's very easy to do that. If you want to pick up an entire season of these, you can do that. They also have a pledge level to save and pick up everything that's ever been made for them. So this is also an option if you're like, hey, I'm all in on this idea. I really want to get in on this. Definitely do that. But yeah, these look really, really exciting, and these look like a lot of fun. And I hope that more people play these and have fun with these games. Graphic novel adventures, huge fan. I'm going to give this a solid 18 for a roll. 1, great idea. 2, really fun artwork, great production, really well laid out. You get to look at this page. You don't have a lot of questions by the time you get to the end of it, right? You're like, okay, I see what this is about. I see what these different books that they're offering in this season are. I see what the price point is, and it gets you in and out. If Kickstarter is a store, this store is going to do really well. And that is, of course, denoted by the fact that they launched just a couple weeks ago. They have almost 1,000 backers. They've raised $84,000. This series has a lot of fans to it. So definitely recommend checking this out if this is at all exciting to you.
Very, very cool first pick, Joe. That's awesome.
And Steve Vander Ark in the comments is saying definitely the Sherlock Holmes. That's one that
I know, right? That's what I'm saying.
All right,
I
Hannah,
agree.
we are up to you now.
My turn, and I am the resident English teacher. So anytime that there's a TTRPG that is based around literature, you better believe that I am there, which is my first pick of the night, 5e Adventures in Oz. This is settings, monsters, and maps, oh my, for the wonderful world of Oz. I am incredibly excited about this. Most people know Oz from, of course, the movie, but it is a book and a whole series of books. That's something that people don't understand. The world of Oz is incredibly deep and complex. And a lot of people are excited about this because this Kickstarter has raised over $100,000 so far. We still have 15 days to go on it, over 1,000 backers, and this is by Double Critical. This is stunningly beautiful with the art and the concepts that are in it, and you can tell that this was done by someone who honestly loves these books. And fun fact, it is the 100-year mark of Baum's death. That is the author of Oz who created all of this.
Oh, wow.
So as that, this is like kind of their tribute to him and that centennial mark of his death. What a great way to celebrate one of the most prolific American authors. Super, super cool. But what do you get in this Kickstarter? Here's why I'm excited. It's not just, hey, here's Oz and here's Dorothy and the Tin Man and whatever. You do have those. Those can be NPCs. However, it's the actual setting of Oz, which means you get all the different areas. You have classes specific to Oz. You have races specific to Oz, which I think is really, really cool. You have Gilkin, where's the other one? They're Gilligans. You have Quadlings, Winkies, Constructs, Winged Monkeys, Rose Folk, and Gnomes so far have been unlocked and available. And each one of these has their own kind of specialty to it. The Gilkins are going to be more human-like. The Munchkins, they actually made into a type of halfling, which I think is super fun. Quadlings are going to be like half-dwarves. Winkies are gnomes, but they're the tinkerer kind of gnomes that create things. I'm really excited about constructs because you can basically create any kind of construct that you can think of, and this magic powder can bring it to life. So you can play as a construct, kind of like Warforged in Eberron. Yeah.
I had this idea this week that if I ever got to actually play in a game, I want to play as an animated construct that is like a dummy that's used for like sword practice.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh,
like I want to play like an animated like sword practice dummy as my character.
He got tired of getting punched around.
But what would be
went on his
super
own
interesting,
adventures.
But because you've faced so many different swordsmen, and you've picked up so many different techniques, you're like the best there ever was, because you've literally observed so many different experienced to non-experienced, and oh man, that would be such an interesting character.
Yeah, that would be super fun.
I like that.
So you get, I love that. That's very timely. So you get all of these different races. You can go in and look at them. I'm not going to go into each one, but they are really interesting and perfect for the setting of Oz. They really, really are. So you have that, but not only that, but wait, there's more, because you get a bestiary as well. You have monsters specific to Oz, and they are terrifying. There's just some weird things that can go on in Oz. So you have a whole monster set that you can throw at your players. You have a whole big set of NPCs that are like, if you've read any of the Oz books, you know who these NPCs are, and it's really cool that you can bring them into your own game and setting. There's just so much here. This is a true setting for D&D, and I, for one, am super excited about it. I think it is unique, it is wacky, it is wonderful, and the only question is, would you guys follow the Yellow Brick Road?
I would love... So, do you know if the names of all of these different creatures in the bestiary are they made from the story in some way, or are they quite literally brand new creatures?
I think there's a mix of both. So there are some classic ones, like some of the giant stuff, like giant squirrels are in here. But then there are some off-the-wall ones. You've got crab folk that I don't remember.
What was this brainstorming session? I would have loved to sit on that brainstorming session to come up with.
Like I don't think Frank E. Baum like wrote that many monsters into his books, right?
Mm-mm.
But I mean, you have to take some creative license when you're trying to make something this grand.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
one main gripe.
What's that?
I would say this is a situation where, so first of all, I back too many Kickstarters. I'm just gonna say it. Like I have a problem. Which is mainly the reason that we have this show. I back way too many Kickstarters.
It makes Joe feel better about himself.
So yeah, this is like therapy to me. But so I am a target for their advertising. So they're like advertising really heavily. Like I see this advertised to me on social media 10 times a day.
Really?
And the artwork that's being used to advertise is fantastic. And a lot of that artwork is in the video, but they did not take some of those amazing landscapes that they've created and put them on the Kickstarter page. A lot of people do not watch your video. I'm just going to say that for all of you creators out there, not a lot of people watch your video, especially when it is 3 minutes and 24 seconds long. Ooh. But that being said, you need to take the artwork that you're using in that video to try to sell people and use it on that page. Just use those landscapes to divide the sections of the different things that you're talking about.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
Like every couple scrolls, you pass something, goes, oh, whoa. There is this picture, and you can see it very, very small. You can see this picture down in the unlock stretch goal portion. There is I'm looking for it right here, $110,000. There's a new setting called Skeezer City, and it's very small. That should be somewhere huge, blown up, massive visual of this Skeezer City, this underwater thing. Like that you see what I'm saying? That is amazing artwork.
Gorgeous.
But it's not highlighted. It's buried on the page. And they have so many like things that look like that. They have a beautiful picture of the Emerald City. It's not on the Kickstarter page. You can see a little bit on the GM screen, but that's not really doing much for us.
No, I agree.
So that's my one gripe.
Because the artwork is so beautiful. It would be wonderful to see more of it.
More and more. It's always in the benefit to add more artwork. I think things that are going to make people go, ooh, pretty, are immediately going to make people want to spend their money.
And this artwork is so good that it doesn't just make people go, ooh, pretty. It makes people go, oh,
take my money.
It is breathtaking. It is gorgeous. So let's talk about price real quick. The first, if you just want the digital PDF of the campaign setting and the beasts, which is super cool, you get both of them. It's $45 for the PDF version of that. Hardcover setting, this is going to be just the campaign setting and a PDF. You're going to jump up to $49, which is not bad, but you don't get the bestiary with that. The bestiary by itself is also $49. So if you want both of them, you're going to have to do about $100, whereas if you want both of them in a PDF, it's $45.
It looks like there's a deal that if you get both of them, you can get both for $89 here.
There is. Yep, you're right. So you can save just a little bit of money there, which is personally what I would do, because we talked about this before. What is the number one thing that sets apart, like, do I get the PDF or do I get the hardcover book? It's always art. If the art is amazing, I will pay the money for the hardcover. And in this case, it is amazing. And I would hands down pay $89 for both of those books. No problem. And what's cool about this is you also get the PDF. So if you want to run things more online, you want to have some quick access, but you also want to have the book just for the beauty of it and to be able to look at it, you get the best of both worlds is how you get them both for $89. And that would be my number one buy for there. I would say spend the money and get the hardcover because it's gorgeous.
This is the first time I've seen a PDF be at such a high price point. I mean, it's only $4 difference between that, $4 to $5 difference between that and the hardcover. And to be quite honest, I don't know if that's intentional, because to me, you're kind of alienating people who might not have enough to get the $89 or the $89 for everything, and you're not even really. I don't know. $45 seems quite a lot for just a PDF, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I think their reasoning is you get both PDF. So there's no tier for only one PDF. It's you get both PDFs for $45, and you only get one book for $49. So I guess that's the mindset they went with.
Like,
I don't agree. Like, I don't agree with it. Right? Like,
if you could get the campaign setting PDF for 22, would you think that was a good deal?
It would make more sense.
It would make more sense. So you get 2 of them, 45.
Okay.
But it is a little bit higher.
It just makes you say, like, how come you didn't at least provide the option? Because you did it for the book, right? Like, what if you want one book, but you didn't say, what if you just want one PDF? Which I guess they're saying, like, if you're gonna get the PDF, we kind of want to get as much from you as possible.
I mean, yeah, it still has all the same art. It still has all of the same information in it. And this has to be like super expensive for the art because it's so gorgeous and there's so much of it.
And that might be the case.
I don't necessarily blame them for it.
Yeah, it might be a total case of, you know what, this is some expensive art. But I think if we're looking at, for example, I think it would have been a good idea to have in between Deck of Many Things and digital PDF, one that is just the story. And that way you kind of have that ease between the 20 to 45, because 20 to 45 is such a strong jump, especially when we're still in kind of when we go to digital, right? A lot of people don't get that immediate understanding that digital still essentially has the same developmental time as the hardcover, just with there's no production costs involved. So I think from a psychological standpoint, it might have been easier to include. It might have helped them to put maybe a $25 to $30 price point in between those two. But it's obviously not the worst thing in the world. They obviously have over $115,000 in backers. So that would just be my one question with that.
Yeah, I think this is incredibly cool and I love it. And if you're a fan of Oz, maybe you should check this out.
Roll it.
Roll it. I gave this a 18. I didn't give it any modifiers or anything. I just rolled an 18 because it is gorgeous. It is fun and unique. It's 5e compatible, which we always like because a lot of people know how to use that system. Why do something when everybody else knows how to use the system? So love it.
It makes it much more accessible for a larger audience.
Sure does. It sure does. There you go.
Speaking of 5th edition products, look at that transition.
Look at that. Segues are weird.
I give it a 12.
All right, so have you guys watched Invincible?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Okay, first of all, it's kind of created this. Obviously, we've had the Marvel movies. We've had all of these, and DC obviously can't get it right, but that's another side discussion as to all of these superhero discussions. But Invincible was a huge hit for Amazon, I believe. It was Amazon, correct? I think so.
Yeah.
But there was always this kind of idea. You have, I'm also an anime fan. I watch My Hero Academia. Creating your own superhero. And that's what this next project is all about. It's a 5e compatible superheroic role-playing game. A guide for DMs and players. There's new classes, ancestries, cultures, powers to create your own superhero to fight crime in a full superhero-based adventure. And after completely binging all of the entire first season of Invincible, I'm in the mood to make perhaps a very aggressive anti-hero character. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think it might be pretty aggressive and evil, so to speak. I don't know. But this is created by Sigil Entertainment Group. They've raised $21,950 of their $3,000 goal. Pardon me. 293 backers. They still have 24 days to go. But this is essentially exactly what it means. I'm going to go ahead and read their description here. Dark times call for superheroes. Injustice, terrorism, violent crime are on the rise. Our cities are battlegrounds. Our suburbs are no longer safe. Who will step up and be counted? Who will bring hope to a world on the edge of despair? We thought it would be you. Gear up and assemble your team. You're in for one hell of a fight.
Woo.
This seems super fun.
This artwork really reminds me of like X-Men for some
It
reason.
really does. As soon as I
Like,
looked at it, it definitely
The
reminds me
animated series.
Oh, yeah, definitely in
I'm
that
like,
direction.
oh, getting some nostalgia feels here. This is good.
Um,
Sorry.
but it's really super interesting. So you have all these custom illustrated character folios, all of these really cool characters. The rulebook, they have a step-by-step guide that walks you through the whole process of creating your whole superhero.
Mhm.
You know, you have Are You Even Alive? Robots, non-sentients,
Ooh,
gods are welcome too, as they even say here.
robot
There's
existential crisis.
there are so many different powers you can choose from. The layout of these pages looks extremely intuitive, which is absolutely great. So there's also a complete setting. It's called Midnight City. It sounds very superhero like. So they have all of these different locations in the city. It sounds like there's going to be all these different gangs and criminals, and it's kind of this Gotham-esque location where it's kind of going across all this. But there's also a monster manual, but that includes kind of your antagonists, your supervillains, right? Your people who are going to take over the world. There obviously needs to be someone that might help out with this. One thing that I've been kind of looking at this, and I absolutely love the concept. This image that I'm showing on here invokes a lot of kind of aggressive backstory and potential multiverse, DC multiverse kind of imagery. But I think one thing that I really would have liked is the option to perhaps create your own location. I think overall this is really great. You can create your own hero, but I think as a DM, and correct me, this is kind of how I would want to do it. I would want to be able to kind of also build my own city. Is this a city that worships heroes? Is this a city that's more Gotham-esque? With so many different types of cities and different types of shows that involve different superheroes, there are a lot of different ways you can approach this. There are a lot of different tropes you can kind of invoke with your city. I think it's a great opportunity to have one pre-built, but it might have been a good opportunity to offer a city building tool, something that could have said, help what something that is going to be included in the Wanderer's Guide. Just putting that out there. There's a town building pad that we'll be including, but something that helped you build a city that kind of is, what are the supervillains? Are they rampant? Are they, you have a couple of them? Are they, does your city fear superheroes? Do they fear powers? This is an Incredibles. Are superheroes outlawed? It's this kind of thing that I think might have provided a little bit more unique of a touch to this. But I think it's absolutely timely. I think they jumped on it really quickly. And what do you guys think?
Joe, go first.
I am incredibly intimidated by the idea of running a campaign for players that are all superheroes, because that seems like a really hard thing to manage. And then number two, I'm also extremely like weary of running campaigns set in the modern world, just because there's a lot to account for, right?
Joe likes fantasy. We should put that. He likes that genre.
I do like fantasy. I like, you know what? I like traditional D&D type of settings. I really do. But I also like weird offshooty. I like weird offshooty stuff like Eberron as well. But when you start getting into like, hey, this is like a modern world and all the players are superheroes.
Low fantasy. Yeah.
It's like throwing things like in a very different way. And I think that there's just a lot to account for. That being said, if I was interested in wanting to do that, I feel like this is a place where I would want to start, right? So this, oh, shoot. Okay, never mind. I'm going to stop and I'm going to save for the end of the episode, but I am excited. Hannah, what do you think?
I think you're weird.
Well, yeah, of course, but besides that.
Okay, so basically this is 5e. Right? So you have all your 5e classes and everything still, right? Yep. And then this is just walking you through making them a superhero in modern times instead of like giving it that fantasy vibe?
It's less of your same classes. It's more of
Mhm.
quite literally taking the same sort of things from 5e, and you have so I'll read a little bit of the description here. There's each class has a superpower with a customized power list. So each class, it's kind of divided in the same way, but each class kind of has certain powers, I believe, that go with underneath it. So I can't really take
So it's like a new class setup
You're just
for
playing-
building PCs, right?
Yeah,
But you have
you're
the same system, new
You're
classes.
just playing with the 5e like dice rules and mechanics.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if, well, surely they have some rules in there for
I mean,
modern day rules that you wouldn't have otherwise.
I don't think it's any different than the anime 5e that we looked at a couple months ago.
It's probably true.
It's probably extremely,
I bet you're
at
right.
least in terms of like how it feels, it's probably very adjacent to that.
And if you think about it, I mean, at a certain point, your players are superheroes, regardless of whether it's high fantasy or low fantasy. Like, they are superheroes. They can fly and stuff. Like, I think it's a cool concept, and I think that honestly, the D&D area is lacking a lot of low fantasy like settings and supplements to help people who want to do the more modern world type feel. The more anime, like we looked at one point, often is set in a low fantasy setting. So I think this fills a gap and looks like it does a really good job. I mean, honestly, I like the art style, like we talked about. Reminds me of X-Men. Really super cool. Big fan of that. Yeah, it's cartoony, but like comic booky, which lends to that superhero. It's a good choice for that, and I would be super interested to peruse this and see what it's about. I'm with Joe. I tend towards more high fantasy stuff, but this looks like a really great resource if you're looking to try something like this.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of jumps out to me is, like I said, I'm a big fan of My Hero Academia. And if you think about kind of the process of their growth in the show, and if you haven't watched it yet, it's a really great, Joe, this might be completely, you're not an anime fan, are you?
It's fantastic, though. The character development.
So I'll do a really, 2-second. The superhero quirks or abilities are everyone, like 80% of the population has them. There's a superhero school, and you watch kids essentially in high school become superheroes throughout the entire timeline of watching the show. And that's how kind of I would approach the growth of a character in this type of setting in this Kickstarter. So you have, for example, the powers that they might not be able to control yet. That might be something that might be easy to kind of balance that out, where that intimidation of, oh, they're superheroes, they can do whatever they want. Well, they might just still be learning how to control their abilities, or they might not have full potential, and as they evolve throughout time of this entire journey, their powers get stronger, they unlock new ways to use their powers, things like that. But that being said, there's a lot of different ways we can approach this. Let's talk about price. So this is here what I'm talking about, the $25 5e PDF version right here. It includes desktop wallpapers of all of these different art pieces, which is a really smart idea. Especially if you're going digital, you're going to want something digital, perhaps match your screen while you're playing the game. You get book credit. Yeah, on Roll20, all digital stretch goals and add-on access. So that's a solid $25 immediate back if you are just looking to get digital. I think that's very smart. Now, to get the book and PDF, it is going to be $50. You still get the desktop wallpapers, book credit, book and PDF, all digital stretch goals, and add-ons. So that's what we're normally used to seeing, right? And you're seeing 48 backers there. But where you're seeing more here, you have the get the digital edition of Midnight City, their add-on access, AOR, which I believe I might have skipped over, the Augmented Operative Registry. So I might have skipped over this, so my apologies. Trying to get through this here. The AOR contains a variety of augmented threats, so it's kind of like One Punch Man in a way. Mundane dangers, combat robots, assassins, mercenaries. It's kind of like the danger level type. It's a full book that includes all of these different types of danger levels. So my apologies for skipping over that.
Cool.
So you can get that for $65, which in my opinion, if I'm wanting to run this and want a little bit less of intimidation, a little bit more introduction of some different threats, I would probably latch onto that. You have 68 backers here that have agreed as well. And then from there on, you can get more of these Midnight City AOR books and PDF, everything for $130. And then Patron of the Arts, $250. Obviously, that's pie in the sky backer level. So I would suggest going for that just solid either 45 or 65 or 50 or 65. I think getting all of those AOR augmented, the augmented operative registry, I think is actually a pretty solid add-on if you're looking to get some assistance and coming up with some threats for your players. But this is what I would give for a roll. I think this is a really unique project. I think this is coming at a very timely time. So
Timely time.
Timely time.
A timely time of time.
Timely time of times. And I love the art, as we talked about. I think it matches exactly what you want it to be.
I'd have a wallpaper of that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was very smart of them. So I'm going to give this a solid 16 since superheroes aren't everyone's cup of tea. But I'm going to give it a +1 for art. I think the art is just definitely deserving of a little bit of praise here. I think it is really, really unique, really cool. So we're going to go to a 16 +1 on here for me.
Very cool.
All right.
Awesome.
Well done. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think
Good choice.
that's a lot of fun. All right. So we are going to take a quick break, and we are going to hear from a project that is near and dear to our hearts that is getting closer and closer to activating the backer kit pledge access. So if you haven't heard of Wanderer's Guide yet, definitely take a look, and you'll definitely be hearing more and more about it as we get ready to activate that for pre-orders. I hope you are all ready. We'll talk to you in a minute.
The Wanderer's Guide is a 50-page compendium designed to enhance your fantasy RPG campaigns. Immersive, beautiful maps and artwork by Andrew Bosley. Dry erase pages for quick editing and changes as your campaign evolves. An abundance of tokens to add more character, landmarks, features, and customization to your campaign. An interactive NPC system for adding lots of variety and plot hooks for the Game Master to engage the players. Artwork featuring fun details and story elements to enhance collaborative storytelling, world building, and spark the imagination of the players and the Game Master. The Wanderer's Guide. Your world, your adventure.
Hey everybody, we're back. We got 3 more projects. And I'm so excited to talk about this next one because it's been a while since I've It's been a while since I've got to revisit my old friend Maps. And that's what we're gonna look at.
Joe's Maps.
We're gonna look at a project that's all about maps. So what we have here is we have Dungeon Craft Series 3, 2 new terrain books for D&D, over 1,800 jungle-themed terrain pieces made for the world's greatest role-playing game, and others like it.
Wow.
So this is the 5th project that's been created by 1985 Games.
I love them. I backed them in other things and got stuff, and it was great. I love them.
Yeah. We actually looked at their D&D notebooks and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm waiting on that
sticky
one.
pads.
Hey!
Are we back?
We're back!
Still says buffering.
Hey!
Here we are!
we're
Hey, guys!
back!
Wait, are we really?
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah,
All
we're
right.
back.
Okay, well, we'll
Sorry
figure out
about that.
You know what? This is future Alex's problem, not mine. So,
I
Yeah,
think it'll
you
be
have to
fine.
cut all that.
It might just cut
Enjoy.
directly into it. I don't know if there's going to be quite
It-
literally 5 minutes of
It
issues.
might. You never know.
Oh.
so
It might just cut in.
Woo.
Dungeon
Joe.
Craft.
Dungeon
We're talking
Craft.
about Dungeon Craft.
1985 games.
Yes.
Cool people.
So here's basically Dungeon Craft. It's a bunch of cutout terrain that you can use to make battle maps that is all set to 1-inch grid, so it works with D&D minis or anything that you want to do like that. But there are 2 unique books here. There is the Fallen Kingdom, which is a lot of dinosaurs and temples and like stuff like that. And then there's Jungles of Dread, which is like huts and natives and trees and jungle swampy bridges and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
All the type of stuff that you want to do with that. So these two sets these two sets work together really well. I think that they specifically say, that these books have some very specific things. Like there's one that has like a lot of like desert and oasis towns in it. So there's a lot of elements that you can use, but I am a huge fan of this product. And I think it's a really cool product to look at because let's face it, D&D terrain is a pain in the butt. It really is. Like big terrain pieces, massive setups. Like I've seen people, and again, I'm not going to get into it with Alex again, but I have seen people on like Facebook, and more power to them, that create these like giant cityscapes for D&D where it's like this coastal town with docks and a mountain, and you can take the roofs off the building and look inside of it and all the NPCs and stuff like that.
Yep.
Not about it. Not even, no part of me even wants to play in a game like that. But I do like the idea of being able to like set up your own battle maps, your own type of, this is basically like Roll20 for your tabletop is really what it's trying to like facilitate. And for that purpose, it works really well. And for the price, you cannot even think about getting more bulk terrain, even though it is two-dimensional paper, for the cost that you're able to get it here. I think that this product is phenomenal. I think that it is really, really cool. I am super pumped about this product, and I'm also excited about the jungle theming for this one because jungles are really awesome. They're isolated. They have all kinds of very unique monsters and threats that are very specific to them. So 1985 games, great. I know that your fans are probably definitely dictating what sets you release and when you release them. I'm sure you're taking like up votes from them about what they want to see because they backed your other products. So that's the best way to go. But this is really, really cool. Hannah and Alex, I really want to ask you guys, what do you think about this product? Because I think it's pretty universally interesting across all spectrums of gamer.
I first off, love it. I love the theme. I love the visuals. I love the art. I have one gripe, and it is only in Kickstarter layout. They have this beautiful GIF cycling through all of the art, and it is more than 2-3 scrolls down. That should be the first image because it shows everything that you might be getting in one GIF. Something immediate. I think that I look at that and I'm going to stay on that for the rest of the time we discuss this because it shows exactly that you essentially don't even really need a video, to be honest. That describes exactly what you're selling. And it's under about Dungeon Craft when that quite literally describes your whole product. So I love it. I think it's super great. I love the art style. Yeah, I think the price point, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is totally fair. And yeah, absolutely like it a lot.
They are super cool, and I love that they had Tomb of Annihilation next to it because that is exactly what you are going to use these for. If you are running Tomb of Annihilation, you need this. This is perfect for it, and I love it.
Yeah,
and I actually have some of their battle maps. Like, they're my go-to battle maps is the Dungeon Craft ones. I very much love them and enjoy them.
They generally will like release sets that are very adjacent to very popular D&D books, which is a smart thing. It's a smart thing to do. It's what you should do, honestly.
Absolutely.
So definitely. They also have a free adventure that very specifically uses the terrain pieces and sets from these books. It called Den of the Serpent King. So that is a huge add. Let's talk a little bit about the pricing here, okay? Because I really do want to talk about this. So they have so much stuff. I really just kind of want to go through these tiers because I want to break it down, okay? You can get both of these terrain sets for $65. That is $32.50 a book for each of these terrain books, okay? Then you can add up to $95 and you get these battle map packs, which are basically a big unfolded gridded map for you to put the actual pieces on instead of just playing on a naked table. Okay, so that would up it to $95, and you get 2 giant double-sided battle maps that kind of like unfold and you can put the terrain on. Now, here's the thing that always throws me, and I'm not trying to spit in people's coffee because it's just not for me, but $95 you get both books and a special D20. You're telling me this like, okay, fine.
I'd rather have the maps.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a $30 D20. I'm like, that you're not getting me there.
Yeah.
They also have a bunch of miniatures, which is the first time I've seen 1985 do miniatures. And they're like, hey, if you want our miniatures, here's $127. I think if you go up, it says all the miniatures, but I don't know what all the miniatures are. I see the different ones, but it's not telling me how many, and it's only showing me 5.
Yeah, it's
not 5 miniatures. So maybe there's a lot more coming, but
it also has the NPC art on there. Are they counting those NPC cards as minis?
It's hard to say. I'm looking really quickly at the miniature section because it says, no, it doesn't really say how many miniatures there's going to be. We've also included 2 NPCs. So there's only 2 NPCs.
Okay.
That is
a
lot of money for some miniatures. But I'm in manufacturing.
They should have just done the STL files.
You're going to spend $127 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minis. I don't know. You can buy like, we looked at a couple weeks ago. Alex reviewed a project where you could buy like 8,000 minis for like that price. So
it was a lot.
I just
so like at least 150.
Yeah, that alone just kind of is like, I crossed that off my list. Like that's not for me.
I like the bundle though.
Here's the one that I really like. I like the DM bundle. You get both battle maps, you get the books, you get a deck of NPC cards, you get a deck of stories, you get the D20, you get all of their DM campaign notebooks from their previous campaign, and you get a DM screen. I don't know what's going to be on the DM screen, but you get pretty art. Pretty art, but I mean, what else? You know, I'm curious what the informational portion is. $185. Okay. And that seems like a pretty decent price to get all of that stuff wrapped up. But here's the one that I backed at. So I don't currently own any of the Dungeon Craft stuff. I've seen it. I just haven't picked any of it up. But you can get all of the books that have ever been released for Dungeon Craft. And they even have a special book that is they have all of the special like promo stuff from all of the other campaigns combined into one book called Realm's Edge. So you get the original book, you get the Jungles of Dread, you get Fallen Kingdom, Cursed Lands, Castles and Keeps, Hell and High Water, and Realm's Edge. You get all of these Dungeon Craft books for $240. And if you ask me, that's a steal.
For all those maps.
It's all the maps you would ever need.
Well, you'll have a really neat unboxing video coming up then when you get so many boxes of maps.
So here's the miniatures is just the thing that kind of throws me because the DM's bundle is $185, and then the DM's bundle plus the miniatures is $325.
So much more.
I'm just like, those. I don't even care if they are the best miniatures in the world. I don't care if they're made of diamonds. Well, I mean, if they're made of diamonds, then I'd buy them because I don't follow them. But I'm like, it's just these miniatures don't do it for me, and for the price, it just doesn't seem worth it. And then, like, I'll maybe go in the pledge manager and add some other stuff into it, like the battle maps and stuff. But yeah, the miniatures is just not my thing. It's not something I'm really into. And for the price that they're looking for the miniatures, it just kind of throws me off. But I'm not going to try to highlight that. I just want to say, from my personal opinion, not worth it. What I do want to say is this product is cool. It's great. It's easy to use. It's functional. And this is going to get a 17 from me. Plus one for Matt.
plus
Plus
one for
one for
maps? Okay, we're adding a plus
+1
one
for maps.
Always
18.
plus one. Always plus
Good
one.
one.
for maps.
Did you see
Plus
Steve
one
said
for
you're gonna
maps.
need to put on some jazz, grab the scissors, and get into the cutting zone when you get those.
Yeah.
Lots of cutting.
You know, it would be a nice upgrade for dungeon craft stuff. Preparation.
Perforation.
Right.
Think about it.
That
Think
would
about it.
think about it. Just
Think about it. All right.
Okay.
Hannah, you are up.
My next one I have backed. I did not spend $240 on it, but I did back this one. It is called Norn, and I can't figure out why.
Why it's called Norn?
I was like, okay, the one who's making this, she's German. Maybe it's German. It's not German. I don't know what it is.
Look it up, but if you already looked
So
it up,
no, I already looked it up. If anybody knows, like if there's some secret hidden message behind Norn, please let me know because I am stumped. But Norn, this is one of the few that we have reviewed that has not met its goal yet. But it does have 52 days left, this is a very long Kickstarter, much longer than what we normally see. It's almost there. But this is pretty simplistic. What this is a program that helps you to make homebrew documents look like official documents. It makes things super, super pretty without you having to know anything about how to format or how to do any of that stuff. So the Kickstarter page is like, okay, but it's the prototype that I want you to look at, Alex. If you can go to prototype and click on the here, this will show you what this is going to look like. So each one of those sections you can edit. You can drag and drop different sections, and it's all going to be formatted and in the D&D style. That background picture, you can move that, you can change it, you can change where it kind of fades in and out on the page. You can put it lower in the page, higher on the page, you can add pages. You can basically make your own one-shot look like an official D&D one-shot for you to print, put in your binder, folder, whatever, which is super, super cool. Also cool with this is that they're not just going to do D&D. If you look over, where did I see it at? Under, not settings, go to settings on the bottom left. They have what's Dungeons and Dragons, which is their prototype right now, but they're also going to do Pathfinder, Call of Cthulhu, Cyberpunk, Warhammer. They got World of Darkness on here and probably much, much more. So whatever tabletop RPG game that you like to play, if you are a game master who likes to make your own content, this is going to be an incredible resource for you to be able to make your content look super official and really, really cool. Now, could you just write everything down in your, little notebook? Absolutely. But there are some of us who are crazy, who love to make our stuff look as beautiful as possible. I spend so much time formatting all of my one-shots, all of my side quests, all of my stuff in Canva. That's what I use. And it is incredibly time-consuming to get a page to look this pretty. You can do it literally in seconds with this program, which I think is incredibly useful. Now, if you are looking to sell your resources, like there are some DMs who make like campaign settings and make one-shots and then sell them on places like used to be RPG Drive-Thru. I think it's DM's Guild now. I don't necessarily know if I would recommend using the exact D&D layout that's on here. If you're doing it specifically on DM's Guild, that is Wizards of the Coast, like official kind of thing. Like they let you do that, so it'd probably be fine. But I wouldn't recommend going in and trying to do like a Kickstarter campaign or something using this because it looks exactly like the D&D stuff. You might get in trouble for that. So what I'm hoping is that when this actually releases, if they meet their goal and we get this program, that it allows us to do some of our own templates. So we can create things that are more our style for our games and save them as templates like they have the Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, and whatever. And so we can have drag and drop templates as well. Would be super, super cool. And I'm hoping to see that.
I'm gonna be honest. I was super confused as to what this was.
I
And
figured, which is why I wanted to talk about it, because I didn't want people to miss it. I feel like people are missing it because it's the Kickstarter page isn't great.
I'm currently changing everything that says Norn to Norm on this page just for the sake. As a graphic designer, I'm insulted.
This should be the norm. We have a slogan.
There you go.
This
That
should
actually-
be the norm.
You know, if only they hired a marketer to come up with that.
Honestly, I think it's the main graphic image. Like, it looks like it should look like a spread of beautiful GM page handouts
It should.
and have like a beautiful graphic that runs through it that says Norn, which is a terrible name, but like still that would get
It
people's
may not be a
attention.
terrible name. I just don't know what it means.
No, but even still, like, I mean, if
Yeah.
no offense,
Okay.
no offense to
Okay.
to anybody out there, but if you're if it really is like some kind of like extremely German thing that's like very like German, you're really cutting out like a huge audience that just doesn't get it.
It's true.
So I mean, I'm not trying to say English is the only language you could speak, blah 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 blah. But I'm saying like I saw a Kickstarter that I didn't even put on our list because everything was in Swedish. Like they didn't even have an English translation on the Kickstarter page. And I looked at it, the art was beautiful, everything was beautiful, but it wasn't in English. I'm like, we can't really review it. And hey, there's Swedish people out there, but you're like, if you're limiting your thing to people that only speak Swedish.
Yeah, and we've reviewed Kickstarters like the Dante's Inferno one that I reviewed. It's half in
multiple
Italian,
languages.
but it was also translated into English.
Yeah.
And so it was really cool and really great. This, I mean, everything that's in it, when you go, like, everything that's written on here is in English. Like if you look on the little, it's all in English. So I don't know, man. But regardless, it's really, really cool. And I don't think the Kickstarter page does that justice of how incredibly useful and like time saving this could be. And this doesn't exist. Like I make this stuff. I do a Patreon, just in case you know, I do a Patreon where I do DM resources and I format them all myself. And it is incredibly time consuming. This is awesome, and it just doesn't do justice, and it is this person's very first Kickstarter, so that probably has a lot to do with it. I'm sure they didn't hire a marketer. I'm sure that they didn't do any of that stuff. This was just them going, hey, I'm an engineer, or like a digital whatever. What do you call them? Digital engineers? That sounds cool.
Well,
Can we coin that?
There's a part.
There's a word for it.
There's a part of the website that says Sasha Munchow, and it says Sasha is the developer of Norn, 20 years of role-playing experience, 10 years as a software developer, and 10 years as a graphic designer has fueled their passion, his passion for Norn.
There you go.
You spent 10 years as a graphic designer, and this is what your page looks like?
But the software looks really cool and is super intuitive. It's drag and drop. It's really easy to use. I don't know. I may just be way too in love with this because I know how much I would have loved it when I started doing what I do.
I'm not saying that this is not extremely useful and would not be amazing for people to have. I'm saying I see a lot of flaws.
No, for sure. On the Kickstarter page,
and a lot of red flags.
What kind of red flags? Red flags is different than flaws on a first-time creator's page.
A red flag is you're saying that spent 10 years working as a graphic designer, and that's your banner image, and that's how you set up your page, and you didn't even create like a GIF to show like the product in action. Like those are things where like you would just have to look at like you would just have to go on Kickstarter and look at a couple of projects and say, oh, I get how that looks like. In fact, we were chatting about this project, and I said very specifically, if this person was a software engineer, they should have hired the team that made the Dungeon Alchemist Kickstarter page and had them in fact,
that's like top tier, S tier level Kickstarter page. Like it's amazing.
Honestly,
if you haven't seen it, go look up Dungeon Alchemist, guys. I think we all backed that one, didn't we?
I didn't end up backing it because
Oh, I
wouldn't do
did.
that.
I'm so. Oh, it's
But-
gorgeous. I'm super excited.
What I would have done is I would have gone to them and said, "Hey, I have this really cool idea that kind of fits in line with what you guys are doing. I'm going to develop this program. Would you guys like to like market it and I don't know, like this needed somebody with a better eye on how Kickstarter works because
It's
I
true.
think that this could have 10 times the number of backers with
It
just some
should.
cosmetic updates."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I
Honestly.
100% agree.
To-
You still
to
have 52
communicate more.
days. Hire a marketer, please, because I want this
no,
to happen.
Hire a graphic designer, then hire a marketer.
There
Or
you
someone
go.
who's
Just
both.
don't hire somebody to market
There you go.
this.
Hire Alex.
Or someone who's both. I already have a great
Yep.
job, but you know,
There you go.
if you have any questions,
Do it on
write
the
them in the
side,
comments.
Norn. Come
Write
on,
them in
man.
the comments. I'll
Does-
give some advice.
This
All
is
right. Tell me the
super,
price and
super
roll it, 'cause
useful.
I feel like we're
Okay.
just kind of trashing it now.
I'm defending. I love this.
Yeah,
I agree.
I
It
wanna
needs
stop
to be
myself.
prettier. It needs to be prettier, but I do agree. Okay, so here's how you can do this. So you can get the app with one of the settings. So you pick one, like D&D, Pathfinder, or whatever. You can have that for $18. Which is really affordable for something like this, I think. Or you can get Norn in 3 settings for 24. I'm doing US dollars. Obviously, euros are on there. You can do basic app plus 3 settings and beta access, so you can start using it right now for $36. Or you can jump up to I don't understand the ×5 Norn basic edition stuff, so I'm going to skip that. And go down to the one. Which one did I do? Didn't do that one. I didn't do that one. Is it this one?
Someone's hear my
There was
cat.
there was one where it's all the settings and all the settings that ever will be, and I can't remember. I don't see. Oh, that will be. I don't know where it is now. Oh, here it is. Yep. $84 GM bundle. You get the basic app, all the settings ever released, beta access, and then there are some things on here I don't understand, like 4 times 3 settings. Again, that goes back to like setting this up correctly. But there are some things that I don't understand. But for $84, you can get the Norn, you can get all the settings, everything that they're gonna make from here on out, and beta access.
And guess
There you
what, guys? We're reviewing these Kickstarters. Keep that in mind. We're reviewing these Kickstarters. And if we can't figure it out,
We've seen
no
a lot
one
of
else is
Kickstarters.
putting in the time to figure it out. We're actually taking the time to try to figure it out. And if we can't, and we're like, throw up our hands and go,
Doing
I
our
don't
best.
get
I
it.
don't know what this is, but
I
I
think
love it.
Once you click on the preview, you get exactly what it is. Once you click on the
Yes.
demo/beta, which is
why I
kind
had
of
you do
very-
that. I was like, ignore everything
That-
else. Just click on this.
honestly, if that was higher up and that described exactly, you could quite literally make that your video. Screen record that, and that's it. And
Someone
then just
making a
take
page,
screenshots.
like-
I
get some
think
making a page.
overall, I think this is a really strong idea for a product.
Yes.
I think not
Yes.
everyone can have the opportunity to convert their idea for a homebrew campaign into something that they can make that's really nicely laid out.
Mhm.
And as a graphic designer, it may be taking some work from graphic designers, and I'm not super happy about it, but I get it. I get it.
It is
Correct.
beautiful. It is wonderful. I don't understand some of it. It has some issues, which is why it's also very specific to DMs who like me, who are crazy. So I give it a 12. It needs work. And please, if by some miracle you see this, please work on it so that we can get lots and lots more backers on this, because I think this is definitely something that needs to happen for DMs. So there you go. That's Norn.
Norn. Okie dokie.
Norn.
So, wands. As in a young wizard property that we won't fully discuss her name, fear of being sued, where there's a young wizard witch or wizard may pick their wand in a similar fashion in the Dungeons and Dragons world or TTRPG world. There's a potential for many different types of them, and that's exactly what this Kickstarter campaign is all about. the Wondrous Tome of Wands.
Heck yes!
It is the Wondrous Tome of Wands contains more than 100 magical wands for your next D&D 5e campaign.
Oh yeah.
Perfect description. It's exactly what it is. You know exactly what you're going to get. It is raised over $3,200 with 189 backers, 22 days to go, by T.A. Gray. They're first created, so we have a first-time creator here. And I think, first off, just by the overall title, super interested, just curious with this kind of thing. I always want to know, okay, what'd you come up with? So let's dive right into it. So
How'd you get 100 ideas for wands?
100 ideas for wands? We have there's 100 plus magical wands, cursed artifacts, sentient wands, which are super interesting. So I picture, for example, if the umbrella from Mary Poppins was a wand. Which is probably which is a great idea. And
Mary Poppins, y'all.
so we can take a look here. Mary Poppins, y'all. Let's take a look at the promotional sample here. Let that load. We have the beautifully laid out book. Some really, really interesting art. All of these uncommon wands. We have Wand of Butterfingers, Wand of Delectable Pastries, Wand of Regrowth,
I want that wand.
Wand of the Baneful, Wand of Delectable Pastries. This plain wooden wand is carved from a well-used baker's spoon. First of all, love that.
That's cool.
By spinning
Lore.
the wand, you can conjure delicious pastries that can both sustain you and boost your health. It only has 10 charges. You can expend 1 charge as an action to conjure a pastry. I love this. I've read one wand, and I am such a fan of all of this. There's Wand of the Feeble, Wand of Uncontrollable Flatulence.
No, my party would have way too much fun with that.
I'm gonna cast this against the evil goblin we're fighting.
Yep.
I think this is just super fun. I think it's one of those projects that just, it's something that you can add into your campaign that maybe someone can go in there. Maybe you have a shop that's a wand shop, and every once in a while your warlock or your wizard can go in there and pick up a different wand. Maybe they can only have one for a certain amount of time. Or perhaps this world is full of these wands that are scattered across the world, and you can unlock them in some unique ways. But I think this is super fun. What do you guys think? Honestly, there are so many to go through, but overall, it's very simple. It's exactly what it needs to be in terms of this type of product, and it just is silly and fun.
I adore it. I think that this is wonderful. If you're always looking for like not broken magical items to give your party, but just fun role play items to give your party, this is going to be filled with a lot of options that are going to be really great. I absolutely adore it. I think it's really fun. My only thing is I really wish that they had item cards. If there was anything, if there was anything that would be perfect for item cards, it would be this. You could have that cool artwork on the front. You could have what it does on the back. Just give it to your players would be my only thing that I want. And I would pay extra for that if you wanted to make that a stretch goal.
Add a stretch goal.
Add a stretch goal. That would be great.
Here's the thing. I think that in general, they are PDF or code for drive-through RPG. So they're not messing around with anything. There's no add-ons. They're just like, you can go higher, but that's like you get to design a wand with the creator or whatever that goes in the book. Totally fine. But like they're basically like, hey, I'm making a PDF. You can print it if you want to.
Yeah.
That's
maybe
fair.
Someday.
Honestly.
Maybe someday.
Sometimes
it's their first one, you said, right?
Yeah, and
honestly, so that's the easiest way to do it.
It's super strong, super easy, and I don't think it needs to be more than what it is. And I think cards would be great.
True. I just said if I had a wish list.
Yeah.
This is a great way to do a first project too.
Oh yeah, heck yes.
Say you've just earned yourself 200 plus backers. Probably by the time it's over, you'll have 250, 300 backers. That's an audience that you've created for your next project, and you've done it well and sustainably. Congratulations, good job. Very well thought out.
Yeah, if you've ever thought of doing a Kickstarter and you're like, oh, I don't know how to, like, all of the shipping and manufacturing and everything else, do it like this. This is an excellent way to just get your brand started.
And also, it's $10.
Yeah, what?
It's $10 for the PDF.
That's what is that? That's like a no. I'm not gonna do math on
But
live stream.
if you want to spend $100, you can design a wand.
That is kind of cool.
Honestly, that's kind of fun to me. I would be interested in potentially doing that. Maybe we could do a roll for review wand.
Ooh,
10 cents
where
long.
it just reviews the monster,
Roll
like
for
it gives you like basic stats or something on a
Oh
monster.
my god.
That could be really fun.
Maybe it's some sort of like vicious mockery where it's the roll for review wand, but it only gives them really bad rolls and makes them feel bad about the thing they do.
Yeah, if you try and use it against a person, it like gives you all their flaws or something.
I love it.
Or you have to roll to see which one of us is reviewing. So if it's Joe, it's all their flaws. If it's Hannah, it's just something ridiculously nice and maybe not on topic. If it's Alex, it just tells you
I
roll
tell
more
them they're
dice.
designed wrong.
Yeah, it's designed.
You
How
look
ugly
wrong.
they are. I doubt your design choice there.
I think this is a really simple project, but I think it is exactly what it needs to be. It's super fun. I think there are great ways to add humor to this. So I'm going to give this a solid right down the middle, 15. 15 because it's designed really well, and a +1 for humor because I love projects that don't take themselves too seriously, don't add too much, but also have in these descriptions these really great, fun, unique touches of humor. The wand of flatulence, as we've just mentioned.
I love that. Love it. So good.
Absolutely, that's going to be a 15 +1. And it doesn't seem to want to show up on screen. There it goes. All right, so that is through our second round of 3 projects. We are going to take another quick break as my cat stares at the stars as it doesn't really understand what's going on. And we're going to be hearing from our co-host, Hannah. We'll be back in a minute.
Hello, humanoids. I'm Halfling Hannah, the creator behind Halfling Hobbies. And here at Halfling Hobbies, you are going to find DM resources and only DM resources. We are here for dungeon masters, creating all sorts of things from puzzle templates and downloadable puzzles to DM binder pages, NPCs, loot cards, everything that you could possibly need to help give your game advantage. All of it comes with a healthy serving of food and drink, along with that special halfling hospitality. So grab a mug of ale and a slice of cake, sit back, relax, and dig in to Halfling Hobbies.
Hey guys,
And we're back.
We're back. We're super excited. We're going to talk about a couple more projects and get you guys out of here. But we've got some really great projects to end this with. So, biggest project of the night, by a long shot too, I think. Dungeons of Drakkenheim, a 5e adventure where malevolent monsters and rival factions clash in a dark city devastated by a mysterious meteor shower. This launched on Tuesday and has 4,321 backers and has raised over $470,000. So this looks like it is well on track to make close to $1 million by the time it's said and done. Which makes you say, how? Why? What conceit? Because this project is brought to us by the Dungeon Dudes.
Dungeon Dudes.
Yep.
The Dungeon Dudes is a very popular GM YouTube channel where a couple of dudes talk about dungeons. No, they talk about D&D. They have over 300,000 subscribers. And the really cool thing is Drakkenheim and the lore of this campaign setting is actually a live play that they have been playing for many, many years. So actually, if you want to get like a lot of history and lore and understanding about this, they've been playing in this world for a really long time, but they've taken all of the stuff that they've world built inside of their campaign and turned it into this campaign setting for you to use as well. So let's look a little bit about what Dungeons of Drakkenheim is all about. So first of all, you have this massive capital city of Drakkenheim that has been devastated by this mysterious purple. You can tell this Kickstarter page, everything's fucking purple. But this like purple meteor shower has like devastated it and left shards all over of the different meteor material. And one thing that has happened, has mutated a lot of the citizens and people inside of the city into these like disgusting monstrosity type of creatures. So there's this entire aspect of this, but the city has basically gone into like Walking Dead type of like thing. There are factions that are fighting each other within this city, and it's like all within these enclosed walls and the surrounding lands around the city. But basically it's this very enclosed thing where I just watched that Netflix movie, which what was it called? The one with all the zombies, Army of the Dead.
I don't know. There's so many that I can't watch.
It was that new Netflix one where like basically the zombies went to like Las Vegas and they built a perimeter around Las Vegas, but people were paying people to go on missions inside of that like barrier wall to like go get stuff out of, you know, what used to be Las Vegas. Think about it in those types of terms. There's this city that's been devastated by this apocalypse that has mutated things, created all this chaos, and you are a party that is going into that to fulfill different missions, make secret alliances with the factions that are still alive and operating within that city underground, avoid the abominations and the monsters that are like like going throughout the alleyways and everything like that. It's a very like very dark, gritty, monstrous type of setting that you can run, but there's a lot of really cool things about it. So first of all, you have all of these like almost like Walking Dead-esque factions that you're trying to like make deals with, and you know, that are like separated into their different like territories of the city. You've got this like corrupt magical element that you can like use that will corrupt you and have this type of element kind of going back and forth with. It's called delirium, which is like the resource that is left by the meteorite. It's highly coveted. There is eldritch contamination, so there's definitely a big Cthulhu HP Lovecraft influence on this. You basically can get contaminated by this like purple haze that permeates the city and the surrounding areas that can affect your character and cause mutations and other things, which you could grow an extra arm and then wield 3 swords. Hey, what do you know? Lots of stuff like that. All of this is extremely interesting, extremely well thought out, and to make a campaign setting that you could run inside of a city for a very long time. And this is meant to be like a very big urban adventure. Like this, they have over 20 different adventures that they've kind of written out that is written for like level 1 through level 13 play. So it has this big campaign arc that they're kind of giving to you with it, as well as all of the other things that you're going to need, talking about the delirium, talking about the factions, talking about the new monsters that you're going to find. It is a fully formed, enriched idea that's very, very exciting and very, very cool.
Very cool.
I mean, I love when they have something that they have spent years building the lore and the world of, and have taken all of it to encapsulate into a single product and said, here, I'm giving this to you.
There was a video game a long time ago that this immediately jumped out to me, and it might be super niche, and I keep laughing at my cat poking at the lasers, but it was called Hunter the Reckoning, and
I didn't play that one.
It's very similar in the fact that you have it was like a 4-player game, and you would have one guy that was like fighting against zombies and demons, and there was one guy that was like a Van Helsing character, one person that was like a priest, one person that was it was essentially that kind of thing. And this reminds me of that. And if anyone in the comments watches this video and remembers that game, please comment down below, because that is what this reminds me of, and I loved that game. It was super, super fun, and I love that kind of like, it's like already happened. The apocalypse is already done, right? And you go from there. I think that's super, super interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
This is interesting because I found that this genre is becoming more and more popular too. This grim fantasy, dark fantasy, and also urban. are some themes that are becoming very popular. So I think this is a very timely time for them to use a timely time of time, to quote Alex, for this to come out. And it is extremely well done. Like, it really is.
I want to talk a little bit about the pricing structure here. And again, usually for me, I like to give you just like, hey, this is what you should back at. But sometimes with these products, there's just a lot and you have some decisions that you have to make.
Mm-hmm.
If you want the book, you can get the PDF is $25. If you want the actual book, which is going to be a tome, right? It's going to be a big boy. It also comes with a fabric map of the actual city of Drakkenheim. That's a really cool, nice thing that you get to have, a nice collectible. $55 for that product, okay?
Yep.
Then
we talked about we really like fabric maps. Those are nice.
Yeah, then there's a step up, okay? There's a step up that's going to give you delirium dice, which are, nice. It's going to give you a pack of tactical battle maps to use for different territories or areas that might become pretty frequent if you're playing inside of this campaign setting. And it also gives you one deck of cards of your choice. That's kind of where I'm like, why wouldn't you just make it a little bit more expensive, give you both decks of cards? But whatever. The two decks of cards that you're choosing between are, one deck is the Eldritch Contamination deck, where it gives you symptoms and mutations where you can draw randomly and assign them to players as they interact with the element in a negative connotation. The other one is the Magic of Drakkenheim deck, which gives you special magic items, special relics, special spells, and special contaminated spells. Again, I just kind of feel like you should have just charged $90 or $95 and given both decks of cards, because that's like all the content, right? It's like, this is you get all the content, because the next step up is you're going to get a bunch of the stuff that you don't really need, but you might want. So things that you're going to get here, you get some enamel pins, you get some miniatures, you get a rat plushie, which is, hey, if that's your thing, and you get a big GM screen. So this is like the extra, right? This is like,
there's no add-on for the cards, is there?
I'm sure there will be in the Pledge Manager. There always is. So I think people are gonna get that. I think if you want the content, you're gonna back at 85 and then add the cards on for probably $20 or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's the $125 where you just kind of get like a bunch of the extras, and then the next step up, which is something that we see a lot, you get a special edition of the book, so it has like a foil cover. You also get like the real sexy dice with like a wooden holder and everything, and then all of the other stuff that we've already talked about, and that is $225 for that. Again, miniatures, you're going to get, it looks like 5 miniatures total, but they're very specific to this campaign setting. So if you're a miniatures person, you might want them, but it doesn't look like they're charging that much. Like, you're going from $85 to $125. You get a pack of minis, a bunch of enamel pins, a plushie, and a GM screen. That seems like the right price jump. And then it really seems like for the deluxe edition, if you really want those fancy dice in the fancy book, that's where it's like, hey, I got disposable income, I got money to burn, this is what I want to spend it on. That's your $225 pledge level.
Yeah.
I kind of just want that Executioner mini. That's it.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah, for sure. I actually really like the Lord of the Feast miniature. I like that like feral rat look. It's just very, very cool.
Rat prints, yeah.
Currently, I'm backing this at $85. I am the content person. I'm not one to go in for the fancy bits and bobs. I'm the content person. I want the content. Give me the content. That's what I want. So I'm currently backing this at $85. That's where I think it's the best deal for like what you're going to get. I have to give this a roll. This is a great product, guys.
Yeah.
Very cool. Great artwork, great content, a really cool, unique campaign setting, something that I don't think that we've really seen before, at least not in this type. It's like a little Cthulhu, a little horror, a little, but I like how encapsulated it is, actually. I like the idea of running a campaign to like level 15 that is super specifically geared towards one location. And I like that a lot. That being said, I am going to give this a 19.
Oof.
It's a great product. Fantastic product, in fact. I just feel that it is very isolated. It is very condensed, and it means that if you're going to run this, you're going to run it specifically to run it. There isn't a greater arc, or if there is, you really kind of have to shoehorn it in there. Like, you're playing this to play this game, not to create a bigger world outside of this. So for that,
and if you wanted to, it would be quite a bit of work for you as a home brewer to try and figure that out.
Yeah, like what does that look like? So because of that, I give this a 19. It just lost one point of being like the perfect product. And honestly, if you're rolling to hit, you're not going to say no to a 19. So
no, that's great.
Yeah,
that is great. Good stuff. I like that project.
Good job.
I've liked a lot of these products.
Dudes.
Dungeon dudes. Way to go, dudes. All right, going over to mine, let's go even deeper into Cthulhu, because why not? My next one, the last one for tonight, is Cursed Captains of Cthulhu. If you know me, you know I love H.P. Lovecraft. He's my guy. Love it. I've got a whole collector's edition of his works. Wonderful. This has not hit its very high goal. We don't normally see goals quite this high, but it's about halfway there, which is great. This is by Black Cats Gaming. They've only created 2 things so far, this being one of them. And their other one did get backed and completed. So they do have a history of doing what they say they're going to do. But we've talked about this, like the 3 of us have talked about this on our own. And our biggest thing about this page is that the Kickstarter page itself does not do justice to what this product is, which is why I really wanted to review it. Just like Norn, you don't understand what you're going to get if you back this based on the Kickstarter page, which is very, very, very sad. It goes straight into stretch. Yeah. I'm just gonna... Gosh, I don't even know if the sample does it justice either. So I'm just going to tell you what this is, because I read the entire quick start. So if you scroll down the page, there is a quick start guide that you can click on and look at the rules and everything else, because this is not D&D 5e. This is its own system that uses a D6 system that is extremely easy to use. And if there is a system outside of 5e that I would want to run, it would be a D6 system. They're just really easy. What this is this is historical fantasy, which means it takes place in the 1700s around the golden age of piracy. It includes historical figures that have a fantasy twist on them. Like there is a pirate republic, basically. And this pirate republic is actively fighting against the West India Company, East India, other one, East India Company. They're the bad ones who are trying to do all this stuff, and it's the Pirate Republic that's fighting against them, and also fighting against these ancient evils that are coming out of the sea. It's they are the ones, huh?
How's that going for them?
Oh, pretty good, good. Except Cthulhu
like
is coming, so that would stink. Yeah, it is kind of a rough fight, but they are pirates and they are cool and they're doing it well. So you have all of these historical figures that each have their own faction within this pirate republic, and you get to choose which faction you're a part of. Everyone at the table is a member of a crew of your ship. So everyone is in this crew on the ship. You can decide if one person's the captain or if there's a different captain, and if they want to mutiny against them or whatever. Which faction you're in dictates what your ideals are. So there's one faction that's all about robbing merchant ships and taking the gold. There's another one that's all about fighting these ancient evils, going and finding them and destroying these ancient evils and all this stuff. It's a really, really cool setting idea that is all of the cool parts of history, and then you add fantasy into it. It's like that Pirates of the Caribbean, where we've kind of idealized that golden age of piracy, right? In a D&D setting, plus Cthulhu. Like, imagine that. If you love sea adventures in D&D, this is freaking awesome. And we reviewed some stuff where you can do like under the sea stuff as well. Like, you could include that as an element of this. Joe, you found something, right? What'd you find?
I'll wait till you're done, but I have a thing.
I want to know what the thing is.
So if you scroll down the page, there is a like it lists these like special edition covers that you can get.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
for the book, right? Like it has these like, oh, do you want this special edition cover, this special edition cover?
Right.
I think Alex will probably be scrolling up to it so everybody can look, and they look really cool. There's like a Blackbeard's tome, Horngold's logbook. Cool, awesome.
Right. Those
cool
are the different factions. Yeah.
Cool covers, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much they're charging for those?
No, I didn't look.
$624.
That is a special cover.
There
Wow.
they weren't loading for me. Now we're looking at them. There we go.
I mean, they're okay, but
$600.
Hey, make your money, girl. But like for real, what on earth?
oh yeah, you only get the limited edition print cover at the 600. Oh, I knew there's only 5 people that get them, so I guess maybe that's why they're only making the one of each.
Sure. Hey, one-off collectibles, I get it. It's like a non-fungible token, right? This is like
Yeah.
the Bitcoin of the RPG world.
Exactly. Exactly.
But man, I could not see
That's
spending
not-
600. I
that's
cannot
not for
see
me.
explaining it to somebody that I spent $624.
You see this book?
Yeah.
It costs more than my mortgage.
Yeah. Hey, whatever.
Yeah.
But
hey. Anyway.
I just saw how much it cost. And I was like,
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. And for me, it's more like what you get, like the setting of this and the different aspects of it.
Yeah.
It's a really cool setting that I just don't feel like is getting justice done to it. There's also another really cool aspect of it is these pieces of map. So basically, you've got you have to find the cursed logbooks to collect all the pieces of map to put together a map to a secret location, which is super fun. I don't know why they put on here how to back a project.
maybe they're just making it so for people that have never been to Kickstarter before
Maybe.
understand how it works. Like I've seen that. It's not the first time I've seen it. It's the first time I've seen
It's
it
the first
as
time
like
I've seen it. Ones
the
that we reviewed.
third thing to look at on a Kickstarter, but
Hey, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just think that this is a really cool historical fantasy that we don't get very often. And if you are a fan of Pirates of the Caribbean and H.P. Lovecraft, this is a perfect little love child of the two. And I think it would be really stinking fun to play a campaign as pirates that save the world. That's my little pitch for it. You want to be pirates that save the world, you're gonna want this. Now, let's look at the not $624 options. Because there are perfectly reasonable options here, such as $21 core rulebook PDF, and you get your name in the book's credit. Not very often do you get your names in the book's credit for something so low. Usually that's over $100 before you do that. But in this one, you can have your name in it. I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of names. For $49, you get the core rulebook PDF, a printed hardback core rulebook, your name in the book's credit, and shipping and everything's calculated in there. So $50, which is our normal kind of standard. This is what people are used to paying for a hardback cover of like any kind of RPG setting book. That's what you get here for this one. That's the Pirate Captain. That is the one that I would recommend. Unless you're just really not sure if you'll actually run this, then $21 for a PDF is not bad at all. And you get all that content. Above that, you just get added stuff added to it. Wait a minute now. This says at $70 you can have a limited edition print cover hardback.
yeah, that's that brown and gold, like
It's the brown and gold one.
Yeah, it's not the special.
super special
It's not the super special ones.
Gotcha. If you want all the goodies, then you're looking at $104 for the dice set, GM screen, all that. But in this case, I'd skip that and I'd go for hardback if you really like books like we do, or PDF version of this. I think it is well worth $21 for this really cool setting.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good to me.
That's what I say. I like it. I really like it, honestly. I wish there was more artwork to it, because that first artwork is like really eye-catching.
I mean,
It's very
Cthulhu's
pretty.
just a big Davy Jones at this point.
Yeah, just gotta kill him.
And did you give this one a
So-
roll?
I did. What did I roll it?
Did I miss it?
No, I just forgot what I decided. Oh yeah. So this this is solid. Again, we have the problem with the Kickstarter page that I wish that I could fix, because I would sell this for you in a heartbeat, because I'm in love with this idea of this. But a really cool setting, and if you actually go through and you read that quick start guide that gives you, it's really neat. So I'm giving this a 15.
Okie dokie.
I like it. I give it 15.
A lot. All right,
Done.
so we're on the last project of the night, and usually I'm the resident dice goblin.
Dice
And
goblin.
This week there weren't really that many that jumped out to me. A lot of them really seemed kind of, they're dice, they're great. But I did want to highlight a smaller project so another thing about me is I love enamel pins. I collect Disney enamel pins. Let me see here. If you can see over in that corner, you can see some of mine. There's a collector's thing there. There's some lanyards on the posters there. So I collect Disney enamel pins, and I love enamel pins. One of the enamel pins that I designed is actually in the Wanderer's Guide, so if you back for that or if you pledge for that, you can get that as an add-on as well. So we found this project here that I wanted to call out because it's absolutely adorable, and it did something really, really well that Joe and I did discuss right before the episode happened, and I'll let him touch on that. But this is the Menagerie of Monsters Reroll Enamel Pins. A monstrously cute set of Dungeons & Dragons inspired pins by the Mythic Merchant. And it's raised $5,000, a little bit over of the 1,247 goal, 129 backers, still 23 days to go. This is their fourth created, and they have actually some previous pins that they've done, so this is in addition to ones they've done before. But I think these are absolutely adorable. You have this little frog warrior, this little, it's kind of like a combination of an octopus. The griffin there, the bullywug, the griffin, and the floomf. Exactly.
I want the
Oh,
floof.
because they've already done one. They already made these for other monsters.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have a whole bunch of it. You just keep scrolling. You just get to look at them, which is what I love. Thank you for doing that.
Ooh, we all have to pick our favorite, like, dice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So absolutely love this. I think this is super smart. But Joe, you wanted to talk about one thing that they've done, and why don't you go ahead and touch on that?
Okay, so me and Alex were just kind of like chatting about this project before we started tonight. And one thing that I absolutely loved is I love that the little backer board that they designed to like look like a stat sheet, like
Stat
a
block,
little, like a little character sheet. Really, really cool. And I'm sure these actually probably are like straight from the 5e monster manual, like what the actual stats are. I'd have to look that up, but I'm sure it's why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I thought that was so clever. And it made me say, this small detail is what that T Kickstarter was missing. Remember where we went on and on about that T
D&T?
Kickstarter? We're like,
D&T.
why?
It needed,
Why didn't it have...
needed item cards.
It needed something a little bit more like... It needed something to say, this is D&D, right? But instead, it was like, oh, we just gave it a name like Drow Tea or whatever. But this really says they've taken a lot of time to really think about the design. And I thought that was like a clever detail.
Yep, very much so.
Yeah, I think
I love it.
You got to dig into it. You got to go all the way in if you are trying to really connect to such a strong theme as like D&D or TTRPGs. You got to go for it. And I think the Mythic Merchant has done a really great job establishing this consistent theme. Let's go ahead and talk about our favorites. I love the Griffin. I'm a big fan of my high school was actually the Griffins. That was our mascot.
Interesting.
And I love Griffins. I'm a big fan, but I am a big fan of the Floomf, just because it's called the Floomf.
Blooms are great. They're like one of the only like non-harmful monsters. They're amazing. Okay, Joe, what's your favorite?
I'm so torn, but at the end of the day, it's gotta be the goblin. I really like him. He looks like
classic little
Yoda.
guy.
He looks like Baby Yoda a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. He's super cute. You know what my favorite is? My favorite's the Chimera, because you get 3 times the cuteness in one pin. Look at those 3
that
little
was honestly
faces.
That was my second choice. I really like the
He
Chimera
does
a
like
lot.
that dragon face. He's doing the meep that cats do. Just like,
So,
oh man, this is fantastic.
It's adorable.
He's
it's
great.
Fantastic.
He's
it's a
great.
really great project.
They have a sticker book.
They have a sticker book too that goes with this, and it's free
vinyl
sticker
sticker
with every pledge. And to get one pin, it's $12.
Well done.
It's $12.
Freaking done. This
2
is so
pins,
good.
21, 3 for $30. It's a solid deal. I think this is a super cute product.
One for
that
you and
continues
all
to
your
grow.
friends.
So my roll, I'm gonna end this. It was a solid 16, but +1 for cuteness.
So cute.
So cute.
Great projects tonight, everybody.
Love
Great
it.
projects. As we mentioned earlier, this full episode will be online tomorrow. If you missed any part, hopefully that little episode 13 cursed gap will be gone. But Joe, did you want to mention something?
Yes, I did want to mention something because don't forget, I have decided that I like to ask everybody a question.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't forget. I've been dreading it.
And I have the question. I decided on the question very early in the episode because I don't plan it ahead of time. I just see what comes naturally. And I think talking about Oz and talking about the superhero one made me think about this question. In any popular fiction writing world, right? Like you think of all of the worlds that have ever been written about or created, Marvel, DC, blah, 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 right? Of all of those, because like Oz is kind of like a one you wouldn't really think of off the top of your head. It might not be in the top 5.
For sure.
What world would you like to run / play in a campaign of? What would be a really fun world for you to play in? And it can be like, it doesn't have to be like specifically like anything. It could be Jane Austen, right? Like we've looked at those. Like what fantasy or what literary world would you like to play a game in?
The world, not specifically the storylines, but of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Vendors with like all of these different types of like different nations that have different bending styles, and each character is like the same thing, but they have one ability, and that's their bending ability. And I think it grows over time, as same sort of thing with the superheroes, but it's still in fantasy, so it combines these sort of abilities with that. I think it would be super fun. And if you continued the story along the same sort of narrative, you started more of that older kind of Last Airbender and then into the Korra where they have like steam engines and cars, you can continue the story in the future. I think that would be super fun.
Nice. I love that. This may be really niche, but I'm a nerd. Did you guys read Redwall series when you were kids? By chance?
I definitely did.
I was obsessed with the Redwall series. I would love to see an anthropomorphic genre of D&D where you got to play as animals in the Redwall world. I think that would be so cool. Like the abbeys, you have the different abbeys, and like you just have big banquets and stuff all the time, and you got these epic stories, but you're these little big creatures. I think that would be amazing. I would love that.
I'm actually going to choose one that in a few short months will actually be a reality because it was a Kickstarter last year. But I would love to run a campaign in the BPRD, the British Paranormal. I can't think of what the exact acronym, but Hellboy, right? It's Hellboy. I want everyone plays as a squad of monsters that's playing through just like Monsters of the Week, but it's got it's got Nazis, it's got monsters, it's got like vampire, it's got like every type of thing. But it's like a modern police setting type of thing, like little
Oh, you said
X-Files.
you didn't like the modern settings.
For this, I would though, because this has a very strong.
It's always an exception.
Well, this has like a strong unifying, like, hey, you go out on missions, come back. Go out on missions, come back. I don't have to like think of like what random things are going to happen to people in their apartments, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So
Oh, that would be cool.
That would be one that I really want to play, and
like
I actually backed that, so I should be getting that here probably before the end of the year. So I'm really excited about
it. That's exciting. That'll be fun.
Alrighty, well, that's it.
All right, everyone. Well, this has been Roll for Review. Thank you so much. Steve Vander Ark had said he loves the James Bond RPG and also Edgar Rice Burroughs' Mars series. So those are great feedback there.
That'd be a good
if you have
one.
another answer to Joe's question in the comments, go ahead and put that down there. If you like what you saw during this episode, like, comment, subscribe, click that bell to know when we go live. That would be super helpful.
That was so good.
I know, it was planned. I know what I'm doing. I figured it out. It only took 13 episodes. But thank you all so much. This has been Roll for Review. Have a great night.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Question.